Hey everyone, welcome to my podcast on Beyond School. Today I have an inspiring person with me with a dynamic personality who is doing his masters in Technical University of Munich in Germany. He is a co-founder of Pod, and the interesting part is he has been funded with great investors from Silicon Valley. And talking about his achievements, he has been awarded Bal Shakti Puraskar from our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, and he is a great singer and a TEDx speaker. I would really like to show you all with a short glimpse of his TEDx talk, and you will enjoy it a lot. So here it goes.
Hello everyone, and today I would like to present proofs of proof of stake with sublinear complexity. The word trust in today's digital era has evolved from merely being a humanly assurance to a core part of today's digital infrastructure. If we look at most of the digital applications that we use today, we trust some centralized server located at unknown part of the world to keep our data secure, to keep our identity secure, and also to guard our digital footprint. But as we have seen in the past, this trust is not always warranted. Now enters blockchains. Blockchains allow for distributing this trust over a decentralized network of nodes, which makes it extremely difficult to break the system. Even though blockchain promises this decentralized and trustless world, in reality, we are far from being decentralized.
I'm super excited to have you in. Thank you so much for joining in our podcast. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. How are you feeling, Heather?
All good. I'm so excited to jump on with your life journey from the time you were starting off to the time you have your own company. And talking about him, he has been rejected from his dream university, Stanford University. But now, as we say, even if God is not providing us with something we need, that means it's a sign where He's giving us something way beyond special than the previous thing. And that's why he now in his company, he has his co-founders who are Stanford University students. So he has a truly inspiring journey, and I'm super excited to dive into that. So let's get fired up with some rapid fire questions and just get warmed up. So the first question I would really like to ask you is, how would you describe yourself in 3 words?
Builder, ambitious, and curious.
Great choice. Which app is commonly seen in your phone which you usually use?
I would say I use a lot of Discord and Slack because that's where all of the communication of my startup is.
That's definitely awesome. What if you get a chance to have a dinner with a person you feel is inspiring for you? Who would you choose to have a dinner with?
I would really like to meet Peter Thiel. I mean, he's really, a goat in entrepreneurship.
Goated, yes, goated overall.
Exactly. So he has, he's a lot of experience, and I want to just meet and see him in real world and, talk to him about some stuff that I'm excited about.
Great choice. Awesome. So let's get started up with his journey. And the first question I would really like to ask you is, from your high school life to you landing up in Munich University, how was your life like, and what was your journey, and how did you came up with the things? So yeah, just explain me with those.
Yeah, so during my high school time, I was working on a research on contagious diseases. Happy to talk more about it later. And then, I got the opportunity to visit US, where I got to see some good colleges. So I was very excited to go out to US, and I applied to some of the US colleges. And as Akarsha mentioned in the start, I applied to all of my dream colleges, and I also got into some, but it was super expensive for me, so I couldn't afford to go to US and had to take a gap year. And during the gap year, I was working on some stuff that I liked, on programming and reading about blockchains, machine learning, etc.
Interesting.
That's when I got to know about Germany, and I realized that education in Germany is free. So through some agencies, I applied to Germany, went there, and then rest is history. Starting with learning language to switching and finding a university which has course in computer science with some scholarship, etc. Yeah.
So in your truly inspiring journey, you might have faced with a lot of challenges in between. And as far as I know, he applied to abroad studies directly from India without going into a boarding school. So what all challenges did you face in this phase of life, and how did you overcome those challenges?
Yeah, so application for like further studies to international universities is quite challenging. I mean, we have heard about like university exams in India for IITs and for applying for doctor for AIMS and stuff, which is very tough, but it's very different and orthogonal to what you need to go for international colleges. So the preparation is completely different, right? You have to give SAT, you have to give TOEFL, and then you have to write several essays. And because you are in an Indian family who's not sure if you'll be able to go outside and if you'll have enough finances, you have to always have a backup plan that you can also go to an Indian university. So that was a little bit of a struggle to kind of balance both of the things. But then also, all of these exams are quite expensive. Applying for the college applications are quite expensive. So it's also restraining on the finance side of things. But anybody who's planning to apply to foreign universities, I would say that make sure to apply on a diverse set of universities. Always go for ambitious, but also have some backup universities, and also apply to more European ones, not just the American ones. Which are, of course, American ones are the top ones, but also in UK there is a lot of good ones. In Germany and in rest of Europe there is a lot of good places. Yeah.
Awesome. So, what's one interesting thing you really like about Munich University in Germany?
Yeah, so my undergrad, I did it in a smaller university in Bremen. It's called Jakobs University. Now it's renamed to Constructor. So I was always curious to go for a further study so that I can go for a bigger university and feel how things work there and how are the courses. And Technical University of Munich is actually one of the best for computer science in Germany. The thing that I like a lot about TUM, Technical University of Munich, is that they have a gazillion of courses for computer science, and courses which are very, very specialized. So, I could take a course in, advanced machine learning for neural programming. I could take a course for genetic engineering, like very, very specific courses, which you cannot find elsewhere. And you have the best professors, and if you want, you can learn all of those things in the tip of your finger. So I think that was the most exciting part about Technical University of Munich.
Awesome. And also I feel like when we are studying abroad, we get a good global perception, and the networking we have, I think definitely teenagers and youngsters should definitely apply for abroad studies. And also the flexibility of the course which they provide is something which is really, really beneficial and interesting. Now, you're a co-founder of Pod, and you might have gone through making prototypes or MVP for your own startup. So how was your journey from getting a problem to working on an idea to starting a company and to get a fund? So just how did that unfold, and just walk us through that journey?
I have always wanted to start my own company from a very early age. Before starting the current company, I co-founded other two companies in the past, which didn't work out as the way I wanted it to be. But I was working in the blockchain space for past 5 years, and I was working in the consulting space, working with a lot of great scientists and engineers with top companies. And I could kind of see the pattern that was coming up in several of the projects we were working on. And through that, me and my other co-founders, we kind of came up with this new way of thinking about blockchains, a completely different paradigm. And we started talking to some of our clients, and even before our prototype, we were already starting to pitch it to our clients and selling them and seeing if there's a real need about it. And once we kind of got that initial validation, we put on a pitch deck. We did some benchmarks on our prototype. We went to some of the best VCs, started pitching, raised funds, now building a team, and there's a lot of cool stuff coming along soon. where we're releasing some of our products, and hopefully we'll get some real adoption and get some real feedback from our users.
Wow, that's so awesome. Amazing journey. So moving forward, we usually see nowadays the youngsters who think they saw a problem. That's actually not a problem when they start implementing it, because they feel that that's a problem for them, but that's not a problem for users out there in the real life. So how would you advise them from starting their company or like building a startup? What advice would you like to provide them with?
Yeah, so I would suggest any youngster who wants to start a company or plans to start a company to do a good amount of market research. So, ideas are worth basically nothing. You get an idea, you see a problem, try to go a level or several levels deeper, right? So, read about similar products online, go and start pitching to your clients. Don't wait for something magical to happen, but like think about the dirtiest, ugliest possible prototype you can come up with, yeah, right? It could be Google Forms, it could be just WhatsApp groups and like mailing lists, right? Whatever you could and there are so many AI tools, right, that you can use to just build something quickly and then try out and get out something that you can get feedback. And once you have this feedback loop, you can always improve and you can always add more features, right? So that's one thing that I would advise. Second thing I would advise is, if you want to start something, you want to build your own company, I would highly advise youngsters to join a company first and join a startup to understand how to build a culture, to understand how to hire people, how to raise funds. And joining an early stage company can give you a lot of experience. So you need to, and you can be entrepreneurial inside the company, and you can work on your own products inside the company. So yeah, if you want to start a company, join a company first, see how things are done, enjoy that process, and then you will get the opportunity at some point where things click, you can start your own thing.
Definitely. So hearing from him, the thing I got is, whenever you are starting a company, before that, I think joining a company is really valuable, because the insights you gain and the experience you gain is what leads you to start your own company. And the second thing is, nothing should be certain. Everything should be like messy, and you should just try to explore different things and different platforms and just come up with something which is just exploring things out. So that's really beneficial. And so from your experience, what do you think young entrepreneurs often make mistake of, and how can they avoid those?
Yeah, so I think a lot of people just want to start a company to look good and be the CEO, right? Don't do that. Building a company is very tough. You really need to be very, very passionate about what you're doing and have that insight. And that's why what I said earlier, joining a company and like seeing a company grow from an early stage will give you very hands-on experience of all of the different things, and you will be wearing different hats if you're like a fifth employee in a company. So yeah, make sure that you really want to do this, and get some good experience before starting a company.
Definitely. So like people are like bragging of like, I'm the CEO of this company. So that's something which should not be there. Like people should actually work for themselves, not for like others to like brag of and stuff.
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah, okay. So you have been funded by top VCs from Silicon Valley, and that's like incredible. So how do you advise teenagers to fund their own startup, and what is the process like? Could you just get us through that process?
Yeah, so raising funds at the level, for example, I did, it requires a lot of connections and building up to the phase. But I think young entrepreneurs should think very frugally, and they should think about what they can do with the resources they have available. Some frugal thinking allows you to innovate in the limited amount of resources you have. But then I think there are a lot of grants that different people and different companies have that are basically, that do not take any of your equity but give you money to start building and start bootstrapping, which are in order of $5,000 to $10,000, which is very good to kind of fund for, let's say, your AWS credits, your AI credits, and things like that. And then, once you're in a phase where you really think that you want to expand and grow and, hire a team globally, I think that's when you should look for VC funding, venture capital funding. The way you go about raising venture capital funds is you have to have connection to these VCs. Usually you can meet them at conferences, at events, and then you arrange a lot of meetings in a very short period of time, and it's basically like selling your company, right? You're selling certain ownership. So you try to create fear of missing out in the market where you're like, okay, this is what I'm building. I'm going to close this round in next month. Do you want to join in my mission? And you want to paint this like big picture of how the dream world looks like, where your company is the next thing, right? And then you have to find the right partner who really aligns with you, is willing to join you in your mission, and is not gonna like hurt you, because a lot of VCs would not even contribute but even hurt you. So you need to make sure you do reference checks, and then there's a lot of legal process to forming a company, which I don't want to go in details of, but that's kind of a TLDR of how you raise funds from venture capital.
TLDR, what's that?
Too long to read. It's like like short form of yeah.
Okay, got it.
In short, this is kind of how.
Yeah, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So, talking about your source of information, could you recommend us with some podcasts or newsletters or any source of information you generally read or listen to?
Yeah, so I mean, books are amazing. I'm personally not a book reader, which is kind of different than a lot of people. I listen to a lot of podcasts. For example, I listen to Joe Rogan, Andrew Huberman. Forgot some names, but but also, I mean, a lot of books I just listen in like audiobook form. So recently I read this book on The Difficult Things About Difficult Things by Ben Horowitz. It's an amazing book, so all the young entrepreneurs, you should read that. There is other books like 0 to 1, Thinking Fast and Slow. So these are some of the books I would recommend. But generally, I think internet has a lot of information. So anything you want to read about, just Google it. I think you can find, and you need to build the skill of finding the information in the right way. AI has been quite helpful these days, right? So you can ask everything to ChatGPT, though sometimes I feel they start hallucinating, so you always need to reference check things. That's some ways I consume information.
Wow. So, just going through all your life journey has been just incredible. Love it. So, what's one key takeaway advice you would like to give to all the listeners who are listening to this podcast, and they can go and implement those in their life?
Yeah, I think one key takeaway would be to get really passionate about the problem you're trying to solve and go in depth about it. It's not just about starting a company or making money or anything. You should really need to feel connected to the problem and try to get experience by looking at information online or joining companies or meeting people before you decide to build a company. That's kind of the key summary, I would say, from everything I've said.
Really good. You are truly inspiring for all the youngsters. Amazing. So, in conclusion, I would really like to ask, what are the key takeaway advice you would really like to provide to all the youngsters out there who would like to implement in their life?
Yeah, so one key takeaway that I want all of the young viewers here is start at a very early age and build up good experience by working with great people. Today we have crossed the age barrier. You could be 13, 15, 17 and working at big companies, working with people with double your experience and still be doing great. The earlier you start, the more experience you will compound over time, which will benefit you in long run. So that's my key takeaway.
Awesome. So he has been a truly inspiring person for all the youngsters out there. And in conclusion, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for inviting me here.
It was a pleasure to have you in. Thank you.